Failure is a part of life, whether it's in fitness, in careers, in relationships, or anything else. And why do we fall, sir? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. We've all heard that failure isn't just unavoidable, it's valuable, right? It teaches us lessons, it helps us grow. But let's be real, failure sucks. It can really knock us down, and bouncing back from failure isn't always easy. So how can we make sure that we recover really quickly and get back on track with chasing our goals? The first thing that's helped me is to immediately reframe the failure. So remove failure from your vocabulary and replace it with another F word, feedback. You ask a girl out and she says no, that's not failure, that's feedback. You don't get the promotion at work, that's also feedback. Feedback, feedback, feedback. This is really powerful for two reasons. Firstly, it removes the emotional element from all of this. So you no longer see this as like a personal flaw, but instead just feedback that you can use to continue to improve. And secondly, feedback is something that we can assess and we can work on. Failure is not. Next, I then like to assess the situation objectively and work out what went wrong and why, making sure that I separate what is controllable from what is uncontrollable. If you ask a girl out and she says no, right, you can't control the way she feels, you can't control what type of day she's been having, but you can control what you say and the way you act. The same with the promotion at work. You can't control the way your boss feels about you, you can't control the financial situation of the company, but you can control how much effort you put into your work and how visible you make that effort to your boss, as an example. If we assess the situation objectively, now we can put together a list of issues to improve, and therefore we can put together an action plan. I like to create a list of immediate steps to fix what is fixable, and if it makes sense, even break these down into short-term and long-term actions, because now I have a blueprint for what I need to do to improve so that I can reduce the chance of making the same mistake over and over again. And then the crucial point, take quick action. The big problem with failure is that it can really mess up our momentum. And the longer that we wallow in the failure, the more momentum is going to be lost. So when we do experience failure, it's really important that we rebuild that momentum as quickly as possible. Even the smallest action or the tiniest win makes a big difference in rebuilding that momentum. So if you failed your diet and you've had this huge cheat meal, immediately go for a walk, go for a run. If you fail a test, right, immediately set up the retest and start revising again. If we can take quick action immediately after a failure, we put the failure behind us. And soon we won't even think about the failure because we're going to be too busy moving forward. The final thing I like to do when I experience failure is keep my confidence intact. So what I do is I look back on past successes and I make sure that my self-belief doesn't take too hard a hit. If you can look back and you can remind yourself just how far you've traveled, then suddenly this failure seems insignificant in the grand scheme of things. So there we go, some simple things you can do to bounce forward after a failure. Now to close, I want to leave you with two quotes that I find really useful when I do experience failure. These quotes just get me pumped up to keep moving forward. Henry Ford said, "Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently." And James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, says, "The first mistake is never the one that ruins you. It's the spiral of repeated mistakes that follows." I hope this video helps. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will see you in the next video.